Welcome to Monday Night Live, the weekly training that guides professionals to financial prosperity. Join our community and let's start building your wealth.
Funny thing is, I knew that tonight's class would be a small class because last time I didn't announce it and we had a full class and everybody loved it. But people who are nervous about speaking in public, they
People
won't
duck
come to
down the
another.
rope.
That's amazing. But yes, it's exactly that. It's precisely the thing that we need. And if there's a famous saying, if the success that you seek is just on the other side of it. So really, like role playing, it's if you master it here, it's way easier in the field. It's like a thin layer of cellophane. You can poke it with your finger and you can feel it. You can barely see it, but you know it's there. You just can't poke through that cellophane. And so the way to conquer that is to grab the cellophane, crunch it up, and throw it away. In other words, conquer your fear. Just do the thing that you're afraid of. And it's amazing exercise. And once you do it a few times, of course, you get used to it. So let's see, Kay, Jackie, Angela. Good to see you, Angela. Um, let's see, Jackie's rejoining Angela. Hopefully Angela will let herself be promoted. So we had a really good one last night, last week, excuse me, last month. And I think it was really only one script that we covered because everybody wanted to chime in. So is there anything you guys want to go over tonight when it comes to scripting? Like, what happens when somebody says, hey, you know, will you lower your commission? Because we actually had that happen today. Um, it probably happens at least once a week on the team. Somebody lowers their commission, and it's it's just a natural part of the business. And there's different circumstances. I mean, there's times when you you know it makes sense to do it. It's like a relative or something, or family member. But other times in the heat of negotiation, or when you get through an inspection and the two parties are close, but they're not quite close enough, inevitably they look at the realtors. Hey, would you take a cut and pay? Those are the ones I want to go over because you don't want to do that. And I know there's logic. There are agents out there who will say, well, I'd rather have part of something than nothing at all. But that's assuming the transaction is not going to happen if you don't, uh, you know, give up part of your commission. And I disagree, and I'll show you why. We'll use that as an example, actually. Um, that's one of the scripts we'll use because that's one of the most common ones. But how about another one? Let's have a volunteer. Who wants to bring up a circumstance that you've been in or you've heard of other agents be in, where you would love to have the script or the objection to, or how do you handle that scenario? It could be anything. While you guys are thinking, I'm going to promote a few more people. Hey, Andre, good to see you, buddy.
Hey, Gary, good to see you.
Yep.
I just invited a new guest. She's just going to be jumping on here. You should hopefully see her in a second, Carla. She's a brand new agent, and she's making an application tomorrow. And she wants to be an investor herself, so I told her about you guys, and she's going to jump on here.
Okay. Well, that sounds good. Well, listen, what I'm looking for, Andre, is we're role playing and scripting tonight, which is, of course, real estate 101. And it's the thing we were just saying that a lot of agents don't like to do, but it's
Right.
probably the most important thing. I mean, that's how you sharpen the blade.
Right.
So, yep. I'm trying to see who I've had discussions with that have had has a lot of hey, DeAndre, if you're not at work, would you mind unmuting yourself?
Hey Gary, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Doing well.
Hey, back several months ago when you were using I can't remember if you used your really flow or what the source was, but you were making a lot of contact with owners, and you were getting it runs the gamut, all kinds of objections and complications and challenges and things like that. Can you think of one?
Yeah,
I mean,
that that
you
was
were
with
like
that was with Zudelia. A lot of
Judelia,
color
that's
there.
right. Yeah. But what was one of the main objections you remember getting from all that?
Well, the biggest one was trying to get the sellers, to agree on the inspection period. The dealer wanted to offer a 14-day inspection period. Most sellers, wholesalers, they weren't going for that. They wanted 10 days or less. So that was the biggest objection I was basically dealing with that.
Okay. Well, let's how about you and I role play? I'll have you play you, and then and I'll play one of the owners, one of the
Hey,
wholesalers.
hey, Gary, do
Yeah.
you want to make me co-host so I can help bring people in?
Oh, yes. Thanks, Andre. I appreciate that. A co-host. All right, you will co-host. So we'll go ahead and get started here, guys. So right, so DeAndre, go ahead and pretend ring ring, you're calling me up about an offer that you made on my property from your buyer, and you want that 14-day inspection period. And what we'll do is we'll reverse roles. We'll do it this way, then reverse roles. We'll have someone else chime in.
Okay. All right. Ring, ring,
So,
ring.
yep. Hello.
Hey, Gary, how you doing? It's Andre with EXP.
Hey, DeAndre, how you doing?
I'm well. I'm well. So I was calling you because I had a cash offer for you. It's within a within the price range that you're looking for. Maybe about $10,000 off your asking price. But
Hmm.
what I want to ask you about is, are you willing to do a 14-day inspection for the deal done?
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that, DeAndre, and I appreciate the offer. I mean, if the price is actually fair. Um, we were just hoping for a much quicker inspection. And the reason is, you know, 2 weeks, like let's say the buyer doesn't like the inspection. That means I have my property off the market for 2 weeks. And we were hoping for something like a week. But
Mhm.
I mean, do you think you can get your buyer to tighten up the inspection window a little bit, or was there a reason why they wanted 2 weeks?
2 weeks is pretty much the standard with this platform, but I may be able to get them to agree to a 10-day inspection if you're willing to at least do 10 days.
Hang on a second. Um, but that might have been me.
I'm in a hotel, so I
DeAndre,
have a horrible reception, so you
Yeah,
might
you
not. I
froze
might
up a
not.
little bit, Gary, but you're back.
okay. Yeah, so I apologize, DeAndre. I missed part of what you were saying. I've got the
Okay.
part about it was part of the platform.
Hmm. Yeah, would you be willing to do a 10-day inspection instead of a 14-day inspection?
Um, I mean, I guess we could do that. Is it one of those things where, like, if they don't get it, they're gonna walk away or something like that? Or
It's possible. I don't want to, lead you astray. It's possible if the inspection doesn't work out, it is possible that the buyer might walk on.
okay. Well, I mean, right now you're the only offer on the table. Do you have any other investors that may be interested in the property in or regular buyers or um do you have any have you shown it to other people or anybody else interested in the property?
No, I haven't shown the property to anyone else, but let me check my contacts. Maybe I can see if I can find any other investors who might be.
Okay. Well, I tell you something else we could do too is if they were willing to put up um a little more money on the earnest money deposit, the hand money, like instead of 500, put up 1,000, and I would say you know, if they can get the inspection done in 10 days and it doesn't work out, they get the whole 1,000 back. But every day beyond 10 days, um, it'll cost them $100. So I mean, if they go buy the property, it doesn't cost them anything. But if they take 14 days, then they walk away from the deal. That means I get to keep $400. 100 a day after 10 days. You think you could run that by them and see what they say about that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, let's try that, and you know, we'll see what happens. So, okay. So, guys, we'll go ahead and pause here. Does anybody have any questions on that or suggestions from your own experiences? Everybody's so quiet. Carla's new, guys. Carla's gonna think you guys are always quiet like this, and I know that's not true. How you doing, Carla?
You're on mute,
You're
Carla.
you're on mute, Carla.
I just told Carla, I just told Gary before you popped in that you're going to be joining us, make an application tomorrow, and want to be an investor yourself. So I invited you to this. So thanks for
Thank
coming.
you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're glad to have you on board. So you're interested in investing also?
Yes.
Awesome. Where are you located?
Stockton, California, near Sacramento.
Oh, I know exactly where it is. It claimed to fame with Stockton back. This was a long time ago. This was back in the big recession. It was the first and only U.S. city at the time to ever declare bankruptcy in the country.
Oh.
But look at it now. Come back a long ways, hasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, you're in a good area. Stockton,
Good.
Tracy, you're in a good area for investing. Yeah, Sacramento's gotten kind
Good.
of expensive, but it's still much better than the Bay Area.
Great.
Yeah, but we'll definitely be catching up. There's a lot of good information you can use. Websites we research everything, people,
Okay.
properties. You'll know exactly where to invest.
Okay. I thank you.
You're welcome. So, hey, Peck, you mind if I call on you just a wee little bit?
Go ahead.
Well, first off, I hope you're well. How are you?
I'm doing a lot better, thank you.
Good. Well, reason I asked you is the last scenario with DeAndre with the inspection period. You know what I mean? Like 7 days, 10 days, 14 days. And only reason I came up with that answer of let's put in a little bit of a escalating penalty is because we've actually done that before, and it worked. And what's interesting is they're just enough to scare the buyer a little bit, like, hey, I better get my butt moving because I don't want to lose 100, 200, 300, whatever, how much money. And it
Yeah.
got the deal done. But in your experiences, I mean, you've come across some crazy, you're like the queen of crazy transactions out there. So,
Well, the
I mean,
only
how
one
do
that
you,
I had that was similar to that was where they wanted to extend, we were on a deadline and they wanted to extend the option period by 2 days, and we had a drop dead date and a backup offer, and we charged them $1,000 a day, but then we had trouble collecting it. So I don't know.
yeah,
I think if you get it, before you get so far down, I think it makes a lot of sense.
yeah, yeah. Well, a lot of people don't think of those things, but the other thing too is, um, like, slightly different subject when it comes to the inspection. When the seller doesn't want to give up anything, the buyer wants to get everything. How do you actually negotiate? There's some common ground there, and the answer lies somewhere in the middle of the spectrum between the buyer and the seller. So one thing you want to write down, guys, is it's classic negotiating. So what you do is you take the inspection report, and it's going to be scattered because you're going to have, roofing, electrical, plumbing, HVAC in different sections. And the key is to prioritize it based on severity. So you have little teeny inspection things like a light switch plate is cracked. Now, technically, I should replace that. Maybe it costs $1 to replace it. And then you got big things like the place needs a new roof. So what you do is you want to kind of itemize all those inspection items from least to worst, smallest impact to biggest impact. Um, and then, if you're representing the seller, you would say, look, we're going to work from the things that are least impact first. We're going to give up those things first. We're going to go with the light switch because it's only $1. But you're going to keep giving up more and more things. So it looks like you're giving up a lot, right? And at the end, you might get away with not having to do the roof. You know, I mean, these things are all variable, of course, but that's how you want to negotiate. Now, if you're representing the buyer, obviously you want the big things first, right? So not everybody knows this stuff. Not every agent's going to think of these things in the heat of negotiation. So it's your job to remember these things so when they come up, you have a strategy in place that you can execute. Okay. So any case, so back to the first part, the part about building in some type of a daily premium or per diem, whatever they call it. I hate to call it a penalty, but that's what it is. Um, it does light the fire under the buyer's butt, but it doesn't kill the deal, you know, because it's a little bit of pain at first, and it gets painful as each day goes by. But if they want the deal, and generally they do, because they wouldn't be here if they didn't, they'll get the inspection done faster, right? Then you can move into part two, which is you actually get the inspection report back. Okay, any input on that, guys, or any questions from anybody? We got some new
Gary,
agents on. Let's help out the new agents by, yeah,
one of the things I like to do is to basically try and get the seller to pay for anything that's a life safety
yeah,
issue. And that's usually your biggest ones. And then
Yeah.
we'll pick up the smaller ones that aren't life safety related, but sometimes that, you know, gets their attention.
yeah. Yeah, we used to call it was basically health, safety, and code related items. So anything, if it's not going to
Yes,
pass a municipal inspection, you got to take care of it. And
right.
now that the cat's out of the bag, if you're the seller and you've got a true safety item or a code related item, you got to take care of it regardless. Might as well take care of it, you know? So
And they're going to have
you
to
have,
disclose it to anybody from that point forward anyway, because they know about it.
yep, absolutely. So, hey, so while we got you, Katie, anything you can think of in your transactions that was like an objection or a challenge or a complication? Even when,
Mm.
think of one where the deal fell through. What was the cause of that? Let's see if we can come up with a script for that.
Usually it was lack of money.
Yeah,
Or the financing fell through.
yeah. Well, sometimes it depends on the nature of the transaction. If it's an owner-occupant transaction where the seller who's legally there is going to sell, the buyer who wants to live is going to buy, the financing falls through. There's a lot of times you can't overcome that because people just think it's the end of the world and they can't come back from it. And sometimes
Yeah.
it's because the buyer did something like lost a job or bought a car or bought furniture. I've seen all those things happen.
Well, I
Um,
did have one agent that actually came up with another financing agency, and they literally got the deal done in 3 days. I was
awesome.
real impressed with that. I said, I want the name of that mortgage broker. I'll use them.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely get their
But
name.
it can
Um,
be done.
yeah. Well, one of the things we've done in the past is if the buyer really wants the property and the seller really wants to sell, but they're okay with delaying their gratification, is to let the buyer go into a lease option for a year. So they pay an option fee, whatever they were going to put down on the property, they pay in the form of an option fee, and then they rent the property for a year. So the current owner becomes the creditor for the buyer because they're going to document every single rent payment that's made for the entire year. And at the end of the year, they go back to financing. And conventional wisdom, I mean, bankers will say if you've got a year straight of complete rental payments paid on time, then yeah, we'll get the deal done. You delay things for a year, but you agree on the current year's price, so because the option fee is not refundable, right? But the
Right.
reason that's important is the seller is giving something to the buyer. They're giving them the ability to work on their credit for the next year so that they can make the payment. There's other variations of that. You could have uh, do like a subject to, and then after a year, the buyer's like, "Hey, I've been making this payment for a year," and perhaps the bank will let them do a qualified assumption, showing that they've
Mhm.
been making the payment for a year. plus they're already in the house with possession. There's a couple of options there when it comes to financing.
I did
But
have an interesting one in California where it was a multiple bid situation, and we wanted to make sure we got the bid, and there was a doctor that was bidding against us, and he was like, I don't know, $5,000 or $6,000 over our bid, and that was as much as we could afford to do. But it was a relocation, and the client actually had rental funds, and so we used the rental funds and leased it for 3 months to equal the same amount of money that the seller would have gotten had he sold it to the other person, and they sold it to us.
yeah, awesome.
So that worked well.
Yep, I like that one. Okay, well let's ask the big. By the way, thank you, Kay, and thank you for DeAndre for participating there. I appreciate you guys. And I might call on you again, but I want to bring up the next one that was actually the first one that came to my mind is raise your hand if you've ever had a client ask you if you can reduce your commission, whether it was a seller or the buyer. Who's ever had that? Yeah, me, Andre, Kay, Gil, Dutch, Manetta. Yep, a lot of us. Mo. Okay. All right. So
What was the scenario again? I lost the audio.
uh, someone's asking you to reduce your commission. Could either be the buyer
Oh.
or the seller. Yep. So one of the most common things that happens. And when
Right.
you're new and starting out, I'm telling you, it's intimidating because you're thinking, man, I got one. I don't want to lose it. I better take the hit. The problem is you plant this seed in your subconscious mind that whenever that happens, it worked before, so you're more likely to do it again. Okay. That's the bigger problem with doing that. But I want to tell you guys this. Yeah, Gil, go ahead.
Well, Gary, I was gonna say I had a coworker approach me because she knew I was an agent because of my kiosk at work. And she says, I'm gonna be building a new house maybe 6 months from now. And I've done this before where you give me some sort of kickback of your commission. And I was like, I don't do kickbacks. We're not allowed to do that. She's like, oh, I was able to do it before with an agent. We'll figure it out. And it's like, I know the answer to that. I don't give kickbacks. So what's your
Right.
answer?
Yeah. All right. So here's a couple scenarios. One of the things I'll say to people if they're asking me to reduce my commission or give them a portion of it, because I've had that too. I used to say yes. I did the first couple of times because I didn't have any way to handle that. I didn't have the confidence, didn't have the experience, didn't know what to say. But I did learn. So here's one of the things I learned to do that really works well. All right. I would say, I'm guessing you wouldn't ask me if you really didn't need the money. Is that true? And most people, if they're, they need the money, but if they're being honest and you don't need the money, they would say, no, I'm just looking for a deal. I'm just looking for a better deal. That's all I'm looking for. I want a deal. Okay. I would say, great. I want a deal too. I always want a deal when I'm buying a car, a house, whatever it is I'm purchasing. I want a deal. But here's the thing, you know, I'm not the owner of the property. I'm not the one who you should be asking for a deal. You're buying the property from the owner, not me. Like when I buy a car, I'm asking the dealer for a deal, right? Now, there's other people involved with this transaction. Everybody's making money on this. The inspector, the appraiser, contractors, if you're doing work with them, the lender, the title company. I mean, everybody's making money, including the county who's charging you a transfer tax. So what I would do is I'm willing to do my part, just like we go to church. We pass the hat around. Everybody pitches in and does their part. Okay. Go ahead and pass the hat around to all these other parties. You let me know what they're willing to do, and I'll match them. You get what you can get from the attorney, get what you can get from the lender, get what you can get from the inspector, the appraiser, the contractor. Do everything you can to get all you can get, and let me know, and I'll match you. Okay, and I'll do it that way. Now, and I say it with a straight face because I'm actually serious. I try not to be, degrading or demeaning or act like I'm being disrespectful. It's like, Hey, I get it. You want a deal. I want a deal too. Let's hope you get the best deal you can get. Let's ask everybody involved with this transaction to pass the hat, pitch in what they can pitch in. Are you willing to do that? You know, and what do you think they're going to say? 99,000 times out of 9,900. Yeah, they're going to say no.
Never
I'm not
mind,
going to do that.
never mind.
That was a good one. That's one of the best ones I've heard, Gary.
It
I don't know how
is.
you can
I,
say
I remember you saying that a couple of years ago. Yeah, that
great
because you
answer.
know the result for the person is going to be like, oh, never mind.
Yep. Yep.
But at least you said,
No,
sure, yeah, I'll do that. Here's what you got to do. And
yeah. Exactly. Yeah. No, I've had other agents tell me that they'll give them the value proposition. Like, well, I really don't do that. I would, and you would say, I used to do that when I was younger and I didn't know any better. I was new to the business. But now that I've been around and I've done transactions for a couple of years, I really value what I bring to the table. And most people that work with me really do value what I bring to the table, right? Because it's not like you're paying me to push paper. I know you're looking at how much hours I put in this, and I might put in 20 hours in a transaction and I'm making 20,000 bucks. It's 1,000 an hour. You're thinking, holy cow, this guy's making 1,000 an hour. I'd like to do that. Well, that's because I know how to get the job done. You can go with another agent that'll cut their commission, but it's probably because they don't have the confidence that comes from experience dealing with all kinds of problems like inspections, appraisals, lenders that say no. How do you handle those things? Well, I know how to handle them. I know how to get the job done. And that's why you pay me. And that's why I don't, just like your accountant. You don't ask your accountant to take a cut in their pay, do you, when they file your taxes? You ever ask your dentist, hey man, I know you just fixed my bridge work here, but can you take a cut in pay? You wouldn't ask them. You wouldn't ask your doctor to do a halfway job removing a tumor from your leg. Or you got any deals on tumor removals today? You ever asked that question? Now, that's being kind of a smart aleck, but I've had people use that, and unfortunately, sometimes people will come back with a very negative comment like, "Well, you're nothing like my doctor. You're nothing like my attorney. You're blah 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 blah." Well, I don't like to use that one, but I'm going to give you another one that works really well. It'll earn you a lot of respect. Everybody wins, and you'll get your commission. And here's how it works. On a settlement sheet, right? You look at the settlement sheet, you've got the buyer's expenses and the seller's expenses, right? Now, most states in normal times, when you have what's called an equilibrium in the market, you've got a balance between supply and demand. In most states, sometimes the buyer will ask the seller to pay some of their closing costs. Not in every state, but in most states. There are states where that's not a custom, but a lot of states it's a custom. Okay. So knowing that that's possible, that they can shift, the title company can shift expenses from one side to another, I would do this. I usually also use this technique when the buyer and seller are really close, like within 10% or 5% of agreement, but they just can't, they're digging the heels in, they're just not coming together. Here's what I would say. If I'm representing
Well, Gary, you froze up on us again.
I was going to ask if that was just me or him again.
Yeah, I think it was him.
Mighty long thought.
Hopefully he'll get unfrozen here in a second.
He's probably chatting away, not realizing.
Yeah. While we're waiting for Gary, I got a couple of different scenarios on a listing. The seller would ask you, if you'll take less on a listing or whatever. And I gave a really good listing presentation. I actually gave them a menu of options so they could pick what they wanted and what they wanted to pay. And it was like the average is at 6% and all the above average stuff. So I got 7% on almost every deal because they wanted the best of the best. I showed them the best of the best. And then afterwards, explain what the pricing and stuff was. And then if they did ask me for a lower amount, I would say, yeah, I can give you a lower amount. Which one of the services do you want to remove? And they say, oh, well, I don't want to remove anything.
I've been told that before to use that approach, and I feel weird about it about presenting it because it's kind of like, okay, like you're saying, you're a la carte services. Do you want me to do this for you? It's going to cost you this much. It's going to cost you this much. So yeah, sure, I'll take less money, but you're not going to get open houses. Yeah, but you're not going to get this, and you're not going to get that. I don't know. I feel
Yeah, I
slimy.
don't tell them what they're not going to get. You just give them. I gave them a list. You know what your competition's doing, right? So you have, you know what they're doing for 6%. I did everything they did plus about 5 more things for 6%. But for the 7, we did this and this and this, or 6.5, and then for 7 it was this, and it was twice as much of what anyone else was doing. And then
Do you
share
have
with
a
them.
copy? Do you have a copy of that menu pricing? I would love to see that.
Oh my goodness, that was many, many years ago, Kate, when I was in New York.
Oh.
But you can basically take a list of what you do now and what you do compared to what most other people's do. If you add every detail, you'll come with a big list, especially if you're doing staging and all the other kind of stuff that we do nowadays. But the idea is you just give them the entire list of what you're going to do. And they want it. And you ask them, hey, if we put this marketing plan together, do you think this will get, the most amount of money for your property to be sold? And of course they'll say yes. And then we break out and say, well, for this whole package, we charge 7%, and then just keep going. And a lot of times they're like, okay, but the handful that says, well, geez, the last guy I talked to was at 6. Yeah, sure. But, is there anything on, before we even got to that, I said, is there anything on this list that I'm not doing that the other agent you talked to are doing? Is there anything missing here? And they always said, no, there's nothing missing. Right. And what are the things on this list that we're doing that the other agent didn't mention? If they didn't mention it, they're not doing it. Well, yeah, they're not doing this or this or this. So they say that ahead of time. And then you say, well, for everything, for our advanced marketing program, we charge 7%. And then sometimes they're like, okay, I mean, they will already want your business. But the ones that do say, well, geez, the other said 6, or can you do it for less? Yeah, for sure. What would you like? What are these things here not that important to you that you want to take off? And they're like, oh, I don't want to take anything off. This all sounds good. I want it all. But if they still want, like Gary said, they want a deal. Well, I'll tell you what, why don't we, I'm going to take all the risk. I'm going to put all the money and effort into getting your property sold, get the most amount of money. You're not going to pay me a dime until we close. So I'm going to invest everything up front. And hey, if I don't get the job done, I'm going to spend a lot of money and time and not ever get paid. So, I'm going to get the job done because I want to get paid. Right. And I feel your house is worth X. And if we get X, or in this range, or if we're on the same page, then you pay me the full amount because we did our job and I know what I'm doing, and you're paying me because of what we bring to the table, 30 years of real estate experience, etc. But if we get less than X, if it's between this, I'll drop a 0.5% or whatever. As long as the price is right, you're going to sell it, you're not going to be a problem. But anyway, that's just one way. And Gary, I just thought I was just filling in while you were frozen up.
Yeah, I appreciate it. What I did is I used my mobile hotspot. But hey, guys, I want to piggyback what Andre was saying. I've heard, first off, Kay and everybody here, you can actually Google that list. If you Google, say, list of services that real estate agents provide, I've seen it posted on Facebook before for the same exact thing we're doing here, because people were like, what do I tell people? They're wondering, what am I doing with all that money? Why do I need to make so much money? Well, you show them everything you're doing, and it really does work. So if you guys want to Google that, I'm pretty sure you can find that list out there.
Okay.
But there's another variation with the technique that Andre just gave you. And it's the same thing. You show them everything you're doing and say, look, the only reason I'm able to do all this for you is because the last house I sold, they gave me 7%, which means I made enough money to do all this marketing for you. That's how this business works. When I make a commission, I don't pocket all of that. I use that for marketing for the next property. That's how it works. And I just really don't want to cheat the next person behind you. I mean, just imagine if you were that person, right? Would you be asking the same question again? This is how this business works. And then you go into so if you really want to do that, pick the things that you would not want done if you were that next person. So it's some people, it'll work on, some people it won't, some people have no empathy at all. Like, I don't give a crap about the next person. All I care about is my house. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can still say, well, tell me what on this list here do you not want to do,
Yeah,
So,
I like that approach. I just need to work on my list.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
if you deliver that properly and you build value in what you're saying, because I can let you know, like you just said,
Oh, hey, Robbie,
Lost
you
him.
got muted there.
Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you got muted again. You gotta,
Can you hear me?
yeah, now we can hear you. Yeah.
Yes, I don't know. I looked down and went to a different screen where it said tap to speak, and my thumb was covered. I don't know. But yeah, if you're delivering, as Andre was saying, and folding in that point that you just made, as long as you're painting that picture well for your client or your prospective client, that you're not actually pocketing that money, you're actually going to pay for staging or drone footage or XYZ, and they can see that. The value is there, that they see that, oh, those things are going to pay for that. And then when you come right behind it with, well, if you don't want those things done, you're diminish the basically like the fee, because you're not going to do staging, you're not going to do drone footage, you're not going to, and nobody's going to say, yeah, I don't want any of those services. Well, I would think nobody would say that, but yeah, as long as you're presenting it that way to build value in what you're doing, I think that would be a good way to do that.
And
Yeah.
if you know your statistics too, I mean, even if you're a newer agent and you only sold 2 houses but you listed 2 houses and you sold 2 houses, well, that's 100%, right?
Yeah.
So if you know your statistics, and you've just used those statistics in your favor, basically, as long as you're being honest and truthful, obviously, you can let people know, hey, when I when my clients allow me to do our advanced marketing program, they charge, they pay 7%. We're able to give them everything. Well, the people that have done that, we get, whatever your statistics are, 95.7% of asking price. And the average, and you can find out what the average in your board is. The average is, 90%. So if I'm at 97% and the average is at 90%, that's 7% on your $300,000 or $500,000 house. That's $21,000. So I'm asking for 1% in order for me to get you the 27,000 over what the average in the market is. So you got to know your statistics of yourself against, could be the entire board, could be just agents in your office, it could be whatever that's going to make you look best, as long as it's honest and truthful. You can do that too.
I have a question. Has anybody ever suggested that, yes, I could reduce my commission if you'd like to pay for the advertising directly up front and let the client pay for the photography and some of that stuff?
Yeah, it's actually a technique. There's two other techniques. That's one of them, which is when someone does that. Now, you can't do this in every state. You can collect a retainer. You say, look, here's how I'll do things. I'll collect a retainer from you, whatever you want to, $5,000, $10,000, that's going to pay for the marketing. Okay. Now, it'll get applied to the commission when the house eventually sells. But because you're asking for a reduced rate, I'm not going to be able to do as much marketing. So if the house doesn't sell because you're not enabling me to do as much marketing as I normally do, I want to make sure I still get paid, because that's how we make our living, right? I get paid to market your property. If you read the fine print, it doesn't say sell your property. It says market your property. That's right in the contract. So you do that. Now, the other variation is, and by the way, so you can't collect a retainer in a state like New Jersey, for example. I don't know the other states that won't allow you to do that. I know most of them will allow you to collect a retainer. I used to do it. I would tell brand new investors, hey, I'm willing to take you on, but you're gonna have to give me $3,000 up front as a retainer. And if and when you close the deal, it gets applied to that. If you don't, at least I get compensated for my time. But you can't do that. So check with your state to see if you can collect a retainer. Now, the next one is actually called a net listing. Same thing. It's allowed in some states. It's not allowed in other states. The way a net listing works is, let's say the the seller doesn't really want to pay a commission. You can say, look, and you ask them, what do you want out of your house? What do you absolutely need out of your house? Because I want to make sure I know what I'm working for. If they say bare minimum, I need $100,000, but you could probably sell it for 120. You can do what's called a net listing. You can say, look, I'll take this on. Anything over and above $100,000, I keep as my commission. If I don't get at least 100, anything if I sell it for 100 or less, you don't pay a commission at all. Are you willing to do that? It's called a net listing. And again, allowable in some states, not allowed in others. You have to check with your state to see if it's allowed or not. But in some markets that'll really work, and in some circumstances that'll work. But you got to be careful with that. You don't want to do it in a declining market or a tight market. You want to do it in a market where, you know, the house is flooded, the market is flooded, like in the big recession, all those foreclosures. That was a great time to do a net listing, you know. So, in just certain markets will allow you to do that. But in any case, lots of good discussion around your commission. I knew that would be a hot topic. But
Always.
yep. Well, I want to go back to the example I was giving you. It actually has nothing to do with you taking a cut on your commission. What it has to do with is shifting the burden of expenses from one party to another. And it works go in both directions. I started off with the example of a buyer and seller are close, but they just can't get to the finish line. And if I'm representing the buyer, this is what I would say to the listing agent, or if I'm working directly with the seller. Let's say the seller absolutely wants $100,000 with them paying the commission, transfer taxes, prorations, all that kind of stuff. So they might end up with 92,000, right? If they got 100,000 and customarily they pay their expenses, they would end up with 92. And my buyer can only offer 95 paying their expenses, which would be 3 to 5%. So what I would say is, to the seller or this listing agent, my buyer is willing to give your seller 92 and pay the expenses, the seller's expenses, right, including commissions. Now, you might wonder, why would we do that? Well, here's one reason why we would do that. Some of those expenses, some of those costs to the seller, if the seller paid it, would actually go against the cost basis of the property. And they would, it would be taxed differently as a result. Taxed on expenses versus capital gains when you factor in what the cost basis is of the property. But for the buyer, on the buy side, all of that becomes an expense in the year it was taken. You can write it off in the year it was taken. So if you do that deal in November or anytime during the year, come next April 15th, the buyer gets to write off, and let's say they're on 25% tax bracket. At the $8,000, they would get 25% of it back, which would give them another 2,000 off of 8,000. That'd bring them up to 94, So they would end up paying 94 for the property versus 95 and, get the deal done. And the seller gets their net. Everybody wins. It's just a way of finagling the settlement sheet and who pays what. And remember, the buyer is taxed differently than the seller is on some of those items. Okay. And that's how that works. So just remember, it's a little bit complex. We do it a lot with bigger commercial deals. That's actually where we got it from. And then we brought it into the residential side, and first with investors. Then we started doing it with owner occupants. And some of them were like, hey, that's pretty slick. Everybody's happy. So, but you have to be within a certain range. You got to be close enough to where that will work. If they're too far apart, if they're greater than 10% apart, it might not work. It might be too far apart. Any questions on that one, guys? Has anybody ever seen that before? Where you're shifting expenses from one side to the other?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. It's not that uncommon. Title companies, it's all in the software. You just got to tell them what to do. They'll put it in the software. They'll even do a dry one for you and tell you what the result is, shifting those things around, So Okay. I think that was the big one I wanted to cover. How we doing? We got 750. We're actually doing really well, guys. All right. Who's got an objection or a script you wanted to cover? Could be new construction, could be somebody looking to um, flip a home or buy a rental. Um, Financing, we talked about that a little bit. Um, Inspections, we talked about a little bit. Okay. I will write a check for $1 million for the next person who has an objection or script they want to cover. Hi, I just want to take a moment to thank you for watching a recording of the Monday Night Live class. Hope you're getting a lot out of it. I'm sure you will. I wanted to let you know that, you can come to Monday Night Live whenever you want, but you can also participate more with the team. Why don't you set up a call with me, a one-on-one strategy call? I can go over everything with you, show you everything that we have to offer. For example, did you know that on our team, not only do you get your leads, we actually give you your own account on our lead gen system. So this puts you in control. You're not waiting on somebody to hand you leads. You get to pick the ones you want. Okay. Huge difference. We have 21 of our own proprietary marketing campaigns. They're all copyright protected. We're the only ones that can use them. Okay. The coaching is absolutely one-on-one. We got 3 coaches. We even have a 4th success coach that we have access to. Okay. One of left fewer than 100 in the world. Okay. One-on-one coaching. Right now the big problem is volume. We need more transactions. We need more inventory. I get it. Well, we know how to get it. Our team actually outproduces the national average by more than 2 to 1. So if you're struggling, don't do that anymore. If you're a solo agent, if you're a team, let's just talk. Smart entrepreneurs are always open to discussion. Learn what we have to offer, and then you can make an informed decision about staying where you are or moving on. You've got to decide, if you're not where you want to be, you've got to take action to get where you want to be. Let's see how we can help you do that. I look forward to talking to you. Click on the link, set up a call. And by the way, I'll see you on the next Monday Night Live.
Okay, I have one right now.
I have one.
You guys are funny.
I had to say cashable check for $1 million.
Yeah. Yep. And you want to hear something funny, guys? This is a long time ago. My wife and I were first married, and we had our first child, and she didn't want to go back to work. And I said, "Well, don't go back to work then. We'll make it work." And I did all the exemptions from withholding. We were hanging in there. It wasn't like we weren't going to Disney World every year or anything like that, but we were hanging in there. And for her birthday the next year, she was tired of, cutting coupons and all that kind of stuff. So she said she wished she had $1 million, and it was her birthday coming up. So in a card, now she laughed at first, but then I paid the price later. I wrote her a check for $1 million, put it in the birthday card. So, in any case, I know at least KK's laughing. I can see Carla smiling. There you go. So, all right. Let me give you a couple things coming up for you guys. We were talking about this today in the commercial mastermind. Who was on when we had Ron Williams on with Hoodle?
Oh, I've heard of him.
Team meeting, yeah. So I want to just bring this up, guys, and really put emphasis on this. Right now, I would say if you can find land that people are willing to sell, vacant lots, like a lot in a neighborhood that somebody never built on, the guy's sitting on it for 20 years, thought he would always do something with it, never has. Look for those lots. Okay, use ReallyFlow, right? Let me show you this real quick. And there's a reason why I'm doing this, and I'll explain that in a minute. So if you go out here, can you guys see my screen? The ReallyFlow screen?
Yes, sir.
So I go out here to property types. Just lob off all these right here. Select land. Always remember, you've got to scroll down and we don't really care necessarily about owner types. We don't really care about necessarily the circumstances, the different criteria. Does the owner live there? Have they owned it a long time? Actually, let's do well, let's leave it alone for a second. What I need is a zip code. Who were we talking to today in the commercial group? How about, hey Rob, what's your zip code?
33708.
33708.
It's a good one to use because
so we're just gonna look for.
There's not a whole lot of land around here. It's a good one to use.
Well, let's see if there's anything at all. Hang on, let me get rid of that ad there. You got 41 parcels, 41 parcels of land. That's actually pretty good, you know?
Better than I thought.
Now,
Yeah.
some of them, yeah. I mean, some of them back here, like 67,000, 137,000, 24,000. That's not beyond reason for where you are. I mean, the ones on the oceanfront, of course, you can't touch those. Well, I mean, some people can, but
What part of
um,
the world is that in? I can't see it.
St. Petersburg,
it's
Florida,
Tampa.
but it's the Gulf
Okay.
Beaches area, though. So about 20 minutes south of Clearwater.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So here's I'm going to zoom out. There's Tampa, and there's St. Pete, and it's right there. Yep. So the point here is if we didn't know this, we would think that there's not a lot of land available. I mean, I've been there dozens of times, and I agree with Rob. I would say I can't imagine there's a piece of land anywhere available there. But look, right there, there's 41 just in one zip code. Let's imagine if we did the entire county. Okay. Well, here's why this is important. All right. And I'm not at liberty to discuss a lot about what's going on behind the scenes, but I can tell you this. Statistically, if you look around the country, new construction is up. New construction is up almost everywhere. Okay. The challenge is land. You know, it's very expensive to develop land. Developing land means you buy 100 acres, you got to go and put in the roads, the sewage, the water, the electrical, the gas line, cable, everything. You got to develop. You got to clear it. You got to grade it. You got to everything. It's extremely expensive and it's extremely risky. And also, when we feel like we're at the end of a business cycle and we're going to go into some kind of recession, it's even more scary. And not a lot of people are willing to take those risks. So what we look for are existing lots. And I literally just saw yesterday driving back here from Pennsylvania to Virginia, as I was leaving Pennsylvania, it's a builder I know up there, Schumacher, and he has a big giant sign you can see a mile away that says, I will build any house you want on your lot. He's telling you, he's telegraphing. He's not developing. He's not worried about finding land. He's putting the burden on you, you being the buyer who wants the new construction. But you think the buyer is going to think to do what we just did and go out to our website and see how many pieces of land are for sale? I mean, not for sale. How many pieces of land are available? We don't know if they're for sale or not. No, consumers don't have these tools, but we do. So we go find the land, right? And we get the buyer to buy the land. Sometimes you can go to a bank and get a new construction loan. Well, they'll give you buy the land, and they'll finance the entire construction, right? Doing the draws and everything. Um, that's very common in a market like we're in. Okay, it's less risky for the builder. You've already got the land. They don't have to worry about any of that financing stuff. They don't have to worry about building. I mean, developing. It's chances are it's already got all that's on a road. You know, it's got the gas and electric already close by. So here's the big picture why this is really important. Ron Williams' program, Hoodle, when he first brought it to us 2 years ago, is April 4th, 2022. You could have got in for $40 and you would have gotten 20 pages, web pages. Each page represents a different area with different builders. Okay. Now you can get 10 pages for $100, 10 web pages for $100, or 5 pages for $80. If it was me, I would do 10. But what that system does, guys, and I don't know how much you remember or how well we described it, but those web pages are put out there on the internet for you. And a lot of marketing is done. You do want to do some marketing yourself, but Hoodle is doing a lot behind the scenes to drive traffic. Okay. So you get the buyers who want to build a new construction home. Well, the builders are also seeing this and they want to be on that website. So they have another portal they go in to get on the website too. But here's the catch. Your web pages are only branded for you and are coded for you. If somebody comes to your web page, they're only going to see Rob Perot. They're not going to see, the Sheila Williams and Kay Peck and Angela Fountain. They're only going to see Rob Perot. they're going to think Rob Perot is the guy connected to these builders. Okay. Hang on a second. I've got a, there. So right now, to me, now I'm not telling you I have a crystal ball because I don't. But guys, I've been doing this since January 1986. I've been in 5 market cycles. I've seen this movie before, and I'm pretty sure other people on here have seen it. I bet Andre's seen it. I bet Dutch has seen this before. Whenever a market is out of equilibrium, okay, and technically real estate for the last year has been in a real estate recession. The rest of the economy hasn't, but real estate has. Okay. We're starting to claw out. And the reason is there's one reason only. Who knows what the reason is? What part of our industry is picking up? I just kind of gave you the answer 10 minutes ago. What part of our industry is new construction? Amen and hallelujah. Now you can choose to sit back and wait, okay, and watch it all unfold in front of you. Or you can choose to jump in and be on the front end, okay, and be an early adapter and not have as much competition. It's way easier to make money when you can eliminate or avoid competition. Okay. But if you wait, everybody's eventually going to figure it out. We're not the only smart people on the planet. Other people will figure it out. But that's called the mass market. And those people will be in what we call a dogfight. You're going to be competing property for property, lot for lot, home for home with everybody else. But if you jump in early with a website like this, that's already a proven commodity, and Hoodle's in 89 cities right now, guys, and they're getting ready to launch Orlando in a big way. So I don't know if Kai Zing's on, but Kai's out there. I can't make you get into the program. All I can tell you is I've seen it. I've been around it for 2 years. I know it works. We have agents on the team that use it. I don't know if Anna Galumian's on, but she was really singing its praises a couple of weeks ago. I really encourage you to reach out to Ron. Okay. It's let me type it in the chat box here. Hang on a second. Ron at my Hoodle. Oops, I gotta spell it correctly. myhoodle.com. Okay. Just email them. You can go to the website, go to hoodle.com. Check it out. Look at it yourself. But the reality is it does require you to step up to the plate and swing the bat. It starts with getting your own presence on the website, so it's unique, exclusive to you. Okay. Use ReallyFlow like we're doing here to find the vacant land. Remember, none of these may be for sale. They all may be for sale. Actually, if they were for sale, it would say up here MLS listing. But I don't see MLS listing on any of these first handful of them. But if they're not, that means you got to contact the owner of the property and let them know you have a potential buyer for the property. And if they question you, show them the website. Tell them you have people interested in buying properties just like theirs. Okay. So in any case, you get the land, you get the buyer, and you get the builder. Right. Now, the way it works through Hoodle is Ron doesn't just work with any old builder. He wants to make sure the realtors are taken care of. So you're likely to get multiple commissions off of these, right? In any case, I feel like I'm kind of beating that horse to death here, but any questions on Hoodle or even using ReallyFlow to find land? It's probably one of the easiest things to find, by the way.
So I have a question.
Yep. Hey, Banana.
Hey, so I kind of remember this gentleman, but we've seen so many people. Is this a subscription service that we pay for? Is that how this works? Okay.
Yeah, it's I think now it's $80 a month for 5 web pages or 100 for 10 web pages.
Right. So it's $79 a month or $99 a month for either the 5 pages or the 10, and there's no contract.
Okay, so you said 5 pages?
$79 a month, 10 pages, $99 a month, no contract.
So what are these pages? I mean, is it something that we have to create?
No, I can answer if you want, Gary.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
It's essentially he's referring to a neighborhood as a page. So it's up to you to go out and meet the builder, the contractor, what have you, and then you would secure those. You would be the realtor for that neighborhood, that area, that build. That would be one of your pages. So it's a page that he is providing for you. And you put up pictures, and you gotta represent well. It's not going to be pictures with your cell phone. Ideally, it's going to be pictures that are high class, well done photos. And then he presents the package to you to where you have the 5 neighborhoods essentially, or the 10. And then his Hoodle was handling the marketing, and that you can always market too, but they those places belong to you, and essentially you want to drive the business to you to be the go-to agent for that area or that neighborhood or that contractor or what have you.
So after we put up the website, then we talk to the builder, and I'm
No.
how does
No,
the
the builder exists, and the builder is there, and you could talk to the builder and get that relationship. And he's pitched it to me a couple different ways, and I haven't done it yet, so I can't speak intelligently on how that would actually unfold. But you don't necessarily have to talk to the builder first either. You can, right, Gary? Can you just kind of go and take photos and put them up on a page? And but I would want them to be able to come to me and know who I am and have that existing relationship. So I would want to have that conversation. But yeah, it's kind of like, if you think of it like social media, if you were representing 5 different services, you had landscaping and maybe you're a beautician and you're doing whatever. Facebook already exists. They already have the pages. They've already got an audience. They've got whatever they already market, and you go to them and you want to pay them to advertise for yourself, and you want to get 5 different services. So you would, have pages like that, and however many pages you have would be because you paid for that many, essentially.
So I think I remember this now. This is one where we're going to like small developers or small,
right?
And then we're doing the marketing for them, essentially.
Well, you're doing the marketing for yourself, because it's coming. The business is coming to you. You just have to have that relationship, with your new construction, and be able to, to work with them, take buyers to them. And it's kind of like the digital business card, you're putting out there the page. It helps get that done. I mean, the example that I gave Gary was me looking right where I live. I had no idea until I talked to Ron about this, as I was, looking at clients, looking from folks, and they're specifically wanting a pool, specifically wanting 3-car garage, specifically blah, blah, blah. So I said, okay, well, and everything we look at is perfect, except there's no foyer, or it's perfect, except the ceiling's too low, or it's perfect, except for this. And I made the joke, and I said, well, why don't you guys just consider building a home? And off of just that, that conversation and made that comment, I just decided to look and see how many builders there were right near me within, 20-30 minute drive. And I couldn't really find a source to figure out where those builders were. It was something that I hadn't really thought about. So I decided to, as as a layperson, be on the phone and call a market center realtor and call and ask. And they were dumbfounded. They couldn't answer the question. And then I thought about it. I thought, well, I guess so, because if you're the best agent in the county, how do you know how to find a subdivision that doesn't exist yet, or that's being developed to come? Because you haven't driven by it, you haven't really it's not there. How do you know where it's going to be? So there's no real source for that. So that's why I was really interested about it initially, because I thought, what a great resource. I can't believe this doesn't exist already. I can't believe this isn't a thing. Part of your lead generation would be this, like a niche, and I just saw a huge need for it. When I talked to Ron, we talked a lot. So
And here's something else, guys. I just pulled up a neighborhood in San Antonio, Terrata Homes in Potranco West. So I just searched for new construction neighborhoods. I found this, it looked pretty, so I clicked on the thumbnail. Like, if I go back one step, like, there's several to choose from. And I thought, I'm gonna check on this one. and I pulled it up. And here's the contact information for a realtor who's obviously in Hoodle, Martha Hodge. She's with JB Goodwin Realtors, and it has her phone number, a little quote about her. And so if I'm looking here, obviously I'm totally dialed in to calling her. There's no other thing for me to do. There's no else for me to go or contact. And what else I like about this is if I was on Zillow right now, would I be the only realtor there?
Nope.
Nope. There'd be 4 other realtors, right? Here is only one realtor, and that one realtor is you. So you get
And
exclusive
where do
when you
you put this out to, Gary? Where do you market this? I mean, YouTube, or is that what you, I mean,
Yeah, I would put it everywhere, man.
yeah. Well, the good news is the way Hoodle's written, they've had some really good software developers. There's SEO already built in, Banana. So organic searches, like think about new construction home buyers. They're out there looking, they're starting to Google new homes for sale in San Antonio. That's what they'll type in. New homes for sale, San Antonio, new construction, San Antonio. The Hoodle website's going to pop up way up at the top. Okay. So good old fashioned organic SEO is your best friend in this deal. You can absolutely put it on all the channels. I'd put it on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'd put it everywhere you can. Instagram, TikTok, um, Twitter, or whatever. That's the X, but I would send it out to your database. You know, I would do everything, but most cases, your folks are coming in through organic searches. That's mostly what you're going to get here, which means you don't have to do a thing other than get in, be part of the program. By the way, $100 a month is a fraction of what you pay Zillow. Zillow is going to charge you easily $2,000 for a decent area, and you're not even exclusive. You're sharing that area with a bunch of other people. Here, $100 a month, you get 10 areas that are just yours. That is phenomenal. And I don't think it's going to last that way. I guarantee you. I wish I could tell you more, but just know this. There are
Yeah, he's calling
people,
it founders. He's calling it founders pricing.
yep. And I guess I can tell you, just don't repeat this because it's nothing official. All it was a conversation. But I introduced Ron to one of the executives at EXP, and they're interested. EXP is famous for people like me and Ron, them allowing us to showcase what we've built and developed without them buying it and taking over like the other brokers as well. You know what I'm talking about. They're all the franchise brokerages will want to buy this, rebrand it so it's theirs and control everything. EXP doesn't do that. They help you promote the thing that you built and you get the glory. Okay. So they're now lining up behind this. Okay. Just early discussions. Don't make anything out of it. Just know that we've had an initial 2 discussions and we're moving forward, but I don't know anything beyond that. And that's the truth. I can't tell you how fast, how soon, whatever. All I can tell you is the crane has left the station. And my suggestion is if you want to be part of new construction, the easy way, jump on a board. Okay. Because once the first major city gets going, I mean, this is just look at this, guys. This is just San Antonio. This was without even an official launch. Look at this. You know, it's already built out. So, in any case, that day is coming, and I'm willing to bet you it will be before the end of the year. It will likely be probably by September. Probably by September, this is going to be fully officially launched, and it's going to take off like a rocket. So that's just my opinion. But I've been doing this for a lot of years. And does anybody want to chime in? I mean, feel free if you got something to offer or say, or I mean, some of you guys have been around for a while too. I'd love to have your input and your expertise when it comes to new construction relative to where we are in this economy right now.
Hi,
And real
Gary.
estate. Yeah. Hey there.
So I did work for a builder here in California. And a lot of the buyers would find us through something called New Home Source.
Mhm.
And it sounds very the same as what you're describing here, what
Mhm.
Hoodle provides.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know that program specifically,
It's
but
different
there's
from New
others.
Home
There's
Source.
yeah,
Okay, so you're
Zoocasa.
I'm sorry,
Zoo,
Gary. Yeah, Hoodle is different from New Home Source. Because Home Source only puts the big builders on their site. And the builders are the ones that control the site, even though you can sign up your clients through that site with the builders. With Hoodle, he really wants you to go after the small to medium home builders instead of those big guys, those major, track builders. And with the website that he provides with that, with the Hoodle site, you build it out yourself. So, like Gary was saying and Rob was saying, you go to the neighborhood, you build a relationship with the builder. You can put it on the site. That can be one of your neighborhoods, and then you just build that out yourself.
Okay, that makes sense. The difference is the larger home builders.
Yeah.
Okay, I just was wondering if it was the same.
No, it's different. Yeah.
And then I spoke with him about that about 2 weeks ago, about that fact, because if I'm signing up as a real estate agent there, what am I signing up for? What should I expect? Right now he's operationally, he's in a period of growth and kind of revamping some stuff. So what should I expect? And then I have a little bit of experience just even before I was licensed as just a citizen person, trying to make some money and finding some new construction or whatever. And I asked him things that I had dealt with in my homes and Toll Brothers and Quest and the different people. And it's not that he's not using those builders. It's just they're more difficult, more I's to dot, T's to cross, that kind of a thing. Where if you deal with a smaller builder, there's less red tape, so to speak. And I see it also as if I'm Hoodle, my company, and the more players I get on the team, the more builders I have involved, the more people I have taken part in this. And then if I wanted to go to, KB Homes or Toll Brothers or In My Homes or whoever, it's kind of like, well, look at all the other people that are coming to the party. Look at all the other people we've got. Da 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 da. I'm also more inclined probably that I want to be there as a larger builder. And it's just low hanging fruit. If you're a smaller builder, they're more easily to get to, more easy to get on board. It's not that he would be opposed. Why would he, of having the bigger builders there? I think that'd be fair to say. So it's not an opposition to using those builders. I think it's just at this stage of what he's doing, I can see from a marketing perspective, it would be tougher to get those people to come aboard. That's speculation and guessing, but from the conversation I had with him, that was kind of the illusion of my thought. Was like, yeah, I could see that, because I had to guess. I looked up after I got off the phone, or the phone call, during the phone call too, or looking, there's something like 1,700 builders in Tampa. I was like, what? Can you do a poor job and get something out of 1,700 opportunities? Probably I could do it wrong and get, half a dozen, and just come on, And the thing is you're like, oh, $100 a month. Can I afford that? If it gets me one deal, it pays my $100 for 15 years. I mean, I was like, I can't believe I haven't
yeah,
heard about this before. It doesn't already exist. It should,
yeah,
so.
yeah.
Yeah, it makes
Great
total
idea.
sense.
Great.
The small builders are not easy to find at all.
And
They
that's what
have
Hoodle does.
they have more incentive to want to participate because they don't have the marketing arm of David Weekly Homes or Toll Brothers or whatever. They don't have that. It's like if you're selling hamburgers, you can't go up against McDonald's. Nobody knows who you are, but you're in the same business, So yeah, if anybody that's going to put my name anywhere as providing this service, yeah, sign me up.
The other thing, Dorothy, is Hoodle, part of the software, it's a data aggregator that goes out and finds the builders. So they have the software and the criteria to determine every home builder who's built even just one home. So they actually tell you who they are. So you don't have to um, go through the painstaking effort on your own to do it yourself manually. That's one of the things about Hoodles. They do it for you, you know?
Do you know
So
if they also check on their reputation as a
I
builder?
don't know if they do that. That's a good question for Ron. But that's an excellent question. You know, 'cause in other words, if it was me and I had 1,700 builders in a place like Tampa, I would probably do some more research, like look at the data. If they've only built one home, I probably wouldn't work for them. But if they built, you know, 20 homes in the last, say, 4 years, I would probably seek them out. I would probably Google them and see what their reviews are. But that's something, if you want to email Ron, ask him that. That's a great question, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
Yep.
that's a good point. Yeah.
You know, what's really cool about this, just understanding software like I do, and I'm not a genius. I don't understand everything about the internet, but this is sort of like a crowd fed thing. So the more people that use it, right? Us, the realtors, the builders, the consumers, the more powerful it becomes. And you're getting all that SEO for free, right? That's why I'm saying I'm pretty sure, just like any good piece of, I mean, look at ReallyFlow right now. If you guys were to go get ReallyFlow on your own right now, it would cost you whatever it is up front, a couple $1,000, $3,000, and $400 a month to get the ReallyFlow service that we have, the level of service we have at ReallyFlow. You would pay $400 a month for that right now. We bought it 4 years ago. Thank goodness we bought it when we bought it. Okay, because I'm not, you know, I've got 117 some odd people on that system, but I can tell you I'm not paying $400 a person. You
Is
know,
Hoodle in
Mhm.
California? Have they branched out?
No, he's out of Illinois.
No, but
Yep.
I mean his services.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Let's go back and do a share screen. Um,
I would think he would be global, wouldn't you, Gary? Because I mean, just a matter of whether he has somebody like an agent that had the desire to sign up would be whether or not he's in California, I would think.
yeah,
Okay.
that's true. But I'm gonna put in let's just put in, so Dorothy, what I probably need a decent size. Well, let's just start with your town. Let's put that in.
We could go with like something like Hayward, California.
Wait, is it H-E-Y or H-A-Y?
Hayward.
California. We'll do subdivisions. The parks at Sagebrook. There you go. San Mateo, Mountain View. Let's just pick
Yeah, I
on
know
the first one.
Summerhill. I've heard of Summerhill. I haven't heard of the other one.
Yep. So Angela Allen, she's the Remax. So she's a Hoodle person right now. Yeah, well, I think when he tells me 89 cities, I think he's thinking large, you know, Sacramento,
Municipality.
San
Yeah.
Jose. But I'm just based on what, and I've been playing around with this for the last couple of weeks. I have yet to find a place that Hoodle didn't have some kind of presence. Um,
Can you type in like Stockton or Tracy?
yep.
So Gary, 2 years ago, I signed up for Hulu, and
Mhm.
I created a couple of neighborhoods,
No E.
and basically
Oh,
I went and took my own photographs and uploaded. He's got the site built out, but you just upload the photographs and the information about the neighborhood yourself.
okay.
What I found here in Las Vegas, and I got a lot of good education from Ron. It's really about looking up who the builder, the builders have builder groups. So you can go to the websites and find out who the builders are in your area. And then it's just about going through and going out to those locations and taking your own photographs and uploading them into this Hoodle system.
Mm-hmm.
So these here that we're looking at have been uploaded by an agent, and if an agent has not taken it upon themselves, we would not see it.
Right. So the stuff you saw in Hayward, she may have joined Hoodle, started a neighborhood, but she hasn't built it out yet. She hasn't went out and taken the photographs and put them up. So the ones you are seeing, like on Catalina, somebody actually put a picture up.
I see.
So, and then, so Aaron
Aaron
Mitchell
Mitchell.
went out and actually put the subdivision bio information in, the photographs in, and that's why they're the expert for that neighborhood.
And
What
they're
I
gonna-
found out in Las Vegas is we have so many big builders, and that website, New Home Professional or New Home Source Professional, it was, I mean, basically, if you were going to do Hoodle, you'd be looking for the medium to small size builders, creating relationships with them and helping to promote them. And somewhere in that, you're going to be able to get some deals.
Got it. Can there be more than one professional for that neighborhood?
I believe so, because I don't think Ron has anything in place that it wouldn't really be up to him, you know what I mean, to give you exclusivity. If you went to ABC contractor and you couldn't say, well, I'm the only agent that you can forward leads to, or I'm the only agent. Ron says that you can't, I mean, you know, Ron is nobody to them as far as how they operate their business. But what you would be is you would be on their radar, you would be top of mind, and you would be a go-to person. If you're worth your salt, become the go-to person. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's kind of how I look at it, bro. It's just
So
like,
you might do the work to create
Yeah.
the neighborhood, to take pictures yourself, put the information in, and then go approach the builder, have a conversation, direct them to the Hoodle site, show them what you've put up, what you're doing to market that neighborhood. And that's going to help
Exactly,
your
yeah.
relationship with that builder. And maybe they might hire you to be the sales agent when they need some of them sold.
Yeah. So Aaron Mitchell has done two neighborhoods. He's did Catalina and Coronado. They're both looks like the same area, probably even the same builder. So he didn't build out the other three, or if he has the 10 page deal, he didn't do all those. But see, I would go out to some surrounding areas. You know, I know in the old days I would say I'm only going to go within a half hour where I live, something like that. And after I realized I was cheating myself. I mean, let's face it, if I can make a $40,000 commission, would I drive 2 hours, 2 or 3 or 4 times? You better believe it. You know,
yeah,
so whereas before I just said wasn't mature enough in terms of business. I just didn't know enough, you know. But like with this, like if I typed in Sacramento, and that's a decent sized area. That's a you know, the capital of California. Um, I guarantee you there's more than one subdivision out there being built, you know? So all you gotta do is claim it and you can have 10 pages right here, you know? And if Tampa, if St. Pete has 1,700 builders, I bet you Sacramento's got at least say a half of that, you know, 850, maybe a third of that, you know, you know, 500 or something builders easily. Yeah, there are going to be three big ones, Horton, um, you know, Ryan, those guys, but the rest will be regional, sub-regional builders, you know, even some just local guys that have no budget. They don't know they can market if they life dependent on it, you know?
And Gary, I find this similar to one of our previous guests, the gentlemen who are doing apartment buildings, where they suggested to us that we go join an association of apartment buildings. In this instance,
Yep.
we ought to go out and join these builder associations. Like and when we're looking for these extracurricular activities, Let's get involved with these people who are in our industry so that we can create more relationships.
Yep. Yep. Well, I'm pretty sure in all the traveling I did, I can't think of one area where there's no new construction. Not one, you know? And I haven't been in all the cities and towns, but I've been in over 600 of them, some big, some small. I mean, let's face it, Tracy is not a big area. Tracy, California is not a big area. Well, you know what? People live there, and there's a real estate office there because I've been there teaching. And you know, if we didn't know, we would never know that there were 1,700 builders in one area like St. Pete.
That's
Ron
greater.
has all that.
Yeah, it's not just Tampa or just say greater Tampa Bay. So it also includes,
Gotcha.
Lakeland or Plant City or whatever. I didn't look at it long enough to know that. It was just like when I saw that number and there was a comma in the number, 17. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that was insane. And when I first looked, I think I told you on that call, our GIA call, that there were 4 builders within like 5 miles of my residence, right on the street, same street as me. And I was like, really? I've been here since 2015. Yes. I can name 1 builder. There's 4 within a 3-mile walk or something. I was like, oh my gosh.
Well, here, I just did this for our folks out in Oregon, Central Oregon, Salem, Albany, very close to each other. Eugene's not that far away. Tacoma's a good piece away. That's a long ways away, actually. So is Bend, Oregon. But look, there's several neighborhoods there, So Kurt, this is for you, Kurt, and Heather. I don't think she's on tonight, but you've got at least 2 within a short drive. Let's just scroll down and see. Other recommend. Well, let's just type on Salem first. Do any of these look familiar, Kurt? Stonefield Crossing, Kinderwood. It's like German for Child's Wood. Trails on Sunset Lake. Yep.
I believe so, yes.
Man, I that's just Salem. I think there was a Albany, Corvallis showed up too. There you go. Somebody definitely bought that. Let's see if it's the same person. The Preserve at Corvallis, that's Jason Cadwell. I think I recognize his name. Kurt, he's a big producer out there, right?
I
Jason
believe
Cadwell.
I believe so, yes.
Yep. So he's got the first 2. He's got the 3rd one. So, I mean, we could continue to let this guy get all the goodies, or for $100 a month, we could give him a run for his money,
Yes, I'm listening.
I'm telling you, man.
I would say, speaking to Bonetta's point earlier that I started to answer and then I didn't, but from a marketing point of view, think about it, guys, like a lawyer does. You see a billboard or something, or ad on the radio, and they're a lawyer and they could do whatever lawyers do, but they specialize in probate or injury or malpractice or whatever. So that's their niche, if you will. Could they also do something else? Sure. So we're a realtor, and if I'm looking for a realtor, I could find you. But what is your specialty? Luxury homes, beachside, whatever, or new construction. So when I market myself, I can say, hit me up for this. I don't have to explain what Hoodle is. I can just explain who I am, and my proficiencies are ABC, XYZ, new construction, right? Whatever I want to say. And in my toolbox, my arsenal of what I do, I market myself and I use and lead generate through one of the things, Hoodle. That's kind of how I see using it. That if it was a probate site, or if it was a divorce site or something like that, a lot of us know that we can go farm that information as public data. It's sort of the same approach. You just market yourself as being the go-to guy. And my case is St. Pete, Tampa, whatever, new construction. I'm, market myself as the expert. So anybody looking for that service of new construction, they're going to contact who? Hopefully me, So that's kind of how I would, speaking to Bonetta's point of doing that. How and where and why, that's how I would do it. If you're marketing yourself anyway, as we should be, include the fact that, hashtag new construction, basically.
Yep. Okay. Okay, guys, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up, but before we do, any final questions? I put Ron's email in there. It's ron@myhoodle.com. He's probably getting inundated right now, but you know what? That's okay. We don't succeed unless we get in the game and swing the bat. And that's what this is all about. And this is a very low cost way of doing it, And my gosh, you wouldn't only have Hoodle at your disposal for $100 a month. You got ReallyFlow too. Most agents do not have ReallyFlow. It was designed for investors. It wasn't designed for agents. We just use it for our clients, investors or not, or occupants. You could easily use ReallyFlow to find the land, use Hoodle to attract the buyers, and connect with the builders. And Hoodle actually identifies all the builders for you, and eventually the builders will be on the site too. Wouldn't it be nice if when the builders log on, they already see you first, right? So please keep that. Please keep that in mind. Yeah. Sorry, Rob, go ahead.
Anybody else here in session tonight? I know Gilbert said that he had worked with Hoodle before. Is there anybody else here in session who has? We can, kind of speak about the experience or what, please.
I have. Yeah, I worked with Hoodle. And in my area, it was tough for me to find builders at the time, and I had something else going on as well. But Ron showed me how to go after those builders, and it was a couple of more people that was using Hoodle, a couple more agents that were using Hoodle, but they wasn't actually in my area. They were at least an hour and a half away from me. They wasn't even in my market. And only one of those people had really built his site out. But yeah, it's good. I wish I would have. At that time, he was actually, you could have bought a lifetime subscription with him at that time. And I ended up buying a year instead of the lifetime. I wish I would have bought the lifetime now looking back, but yeah, it's good. Ron is very knowledgeable and helpful with it. He's very passionate about it. And
from him too. He seems to be real connected in what he's doing. He knows a ton of people. He's good for his word. Pretty stand-up guy from what he said. But
I'm curious if any of you have gotten business from Hoodle.
No, I haven't. And what I really found was it's really up to us to go market ourselves to builders as someone who, specializes in that. And this is just if, we have that, like Rob said, we have this in our toolbox. We have a way that we can go out and market those subdivisions for them. And we kind of just take the initiative and do it on our own at first as we're creating these relationships so that we're positioning ourselves as the expert in new construction.
If you guys want to talk to someone who's doing it and actually doing the work, talk to Anna Galumian. She's doing it and she's getting deals. So I can see it because I get to see it in Sky Slope. They are definitely coming in. In fact, you just had another one come in. It's one of those things that the system works when you work the system, but in my opinion, it's one of the easier things to do because the data aggregators behind the scene are doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you, So
Have you received inquiries from buyers about your sites? Okay. Thank you.
Okay, guys. Going once, going twice.
Hello?
Yep. All right.
I think
We will.
my connection must be spotty or something.
Yeah, I think I've had a number. It's been going on all day today. I don't know if it's the heat or what it is, but I thought it was just me. But I've had multiple people say that their electricity and their internet are all have been acting up in multiple places around the country.
Yeah, I'm
So
normally
next
pretty
Monday.
solid, but
Yep. Hey, next Monday, guys, we actually have a guest teacher, Natalia Brown, and she's actually going to be talking about leveraging new construction when it comes to investing. And I know investors personally, that's all they do is they buy new construction, rent them out for top dollar to good tenants. They have a 10-year warranty on the property, so they have no headaches for 10 years. And one guy who actually at the end of 10 years, he owner finances to sometimes the guy that the renters that's been there for 10 years. So it builds like an annuity type program for himself. But make sure you're on for that. That'd be a good one to invite some guests on if you want to invite guests to come listen. That's a good one, you know. So okay.
Hey,
Well,
Gary,
guys, thanks. Yes, sir.
I have a meeting scheduled with you this week, I believe. I'm not sure what day.
Okay. Let me see here. I can tell you here in just a second. Yep. Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you.
You got it.
And Gary, where is it that I
Wait.
go to get the phone number list for our team? There's somewhere inside the back office area that I can pull up that contact list.
Yeah, if you go to the team website, and log into members area, click on GIA resources. And in there, if you scroll down, you'll see the little heading for team roster. You click on it, it brings up the Excel spreadsheet. There's everybody's name, email, phone number, location, everything.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay. Well, guys, it's been a great class. I appreciate you participating. I love having a guest on, Tom and Angela. There were some others on earlier too. We'll look forward to seeing you next Monday. And if everybody else, I'll see you in your one-on-ones. In the meantime, take care of yourselves. God bless you and your families, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching this episode of Monday Night Live. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and go to realestatewithgarywilson.com to join our community and start building wealth today.